You're listening to Whispers of War.
Hello everyone and welcome to Whispers of War, show number 6. I'm your host Sil. Let's just jump into the whole how was my week in Warcraft. I did some stuff in World of Warcraft, not as much as I wanted to, just because it's almost autumn. And with the temperature change, so has my health changed. I've gotten sick, unfortunately. I think I might have a little bit of a flu. Still went to work, so, after a whole day of working, I was literally just exhausted and didn't do much in World of Warcraft. Not like I normally would, so unfortunately not that much WoW stuff, but I did manage to do some things. So this week basically it was all about, is it the Warfront, is that what you call it? So I went into Arathi, and I think I already said last week that going in there gives you some gear, killing the bears and everything, and just exploring the area. I quite enjoyed that, especially because you can fly around. That's always very useful. Didn't know that at first, so I was running around on my ground mount until I saw people flying, and I thought, oh, okay, so that's how it works. Fair enough. So that's when I started flying. Again, I did have a lot of lag. That changed, luckily. I think that has gotten quite good now in the last week. But then, of course, once the Horde, because I do play Horde, has gathered all the resources, you could sign up for the Warfront, but that didn't really work, and I already saw lots of people complaining. All you have to do is really just look at the general chat to see if anything works or not. And I saw lots of people going, oh, what the fuck, I can't, sign up, and I'm being kicked out, GG Blizz. And I was just like, what, it's the first day, I don't really care. It would have been nice if I could have signed up for the scenario, I guess it is. But if not, so be it, I'll just try it tomorrow. So I basically logged off and tried it the next day, and it was fine the next day. I was in a queue, it didn't take that long. We all queued up. How many people are in the Warfront? I can't remember. Is it 40? I doubt it. I can't remember. But, we all queued up. I've seen some YouTube videos that suggest you split the team in half, and one half goes attacking, the other half goes and deals with the resources. I think everyone just did what they wanted, which worked fine for our group. I just decided, you know what? I'm not that greatly geared, I'll just go and do my resources, and I really enjoyed that. So I did all of that, clicked on everything, tried to upgrade the troops that we had with the armor and everything, and I think I really enjoy that old part of the RTSs that I used to play, just making sure that my troops, while cranking out troops, also making sure that their armor and their weapons are upgraded, that the buildings are being upgraded. I just really enjoy that part of it. I think that's so much fun. And then at a certain point I saw that our team started to go on the proper attack. Thought I would join. I was on a big war codo because there's this NPC that creates those. I'm sure for the Alliance it's something else. Maybe like a war ram. Maybe, I don't know. I guess we'll see that this week, probably, for the Alliance. And yeah, I just went in, killed Trollbane face guy, and that was it. Got some loots. I am actually quite happy with what happened. It was fun. I felt like you actually, had to do something. But I've already seen the stories about people AFKing, which reminds me a lot of some of the other big battlegrounds, that we had in the past. And I don't know. It's interesting, I guess, that people are already trying to exploit by not doing anything. I actually quite like participating in it. I mean, why not? Why not help so it goes a little bit quicker? But that's my opinion. So yeah, I enjoyed my time. I think it's, in a way, I kind of understand why you can't keep signing up for it. But it's a shame that you can only really do it once for gear. I think you can sign up multiple times and do it more if you want to, but there's not really a reward, I think, for it. I don't think so. So I just thought, well, there's other stuff to do, like rep grinding, as always, which I still am doing. I'm still running around on my rogue, killing all the things, doing all the world quests. I'm slowly continuing my war campaign. I'm now in... I'm doing something with Rexar and Lillian. And I don't know how I feel about Lillian Voss. I thought she was kind of cool, but I don't know. Now she's starting to... I don't know. She seems really nasty and mean. Maybe that's the Forsaken in her, but they're not making the Forsaken seem very sympathetic this time around. And that's a bit... okay. So yeah. Not quite sure about that. So I'm in the next part now. I don't think I have to do any more web grinding. I think it's just gated behind time or something like that. I don't know. Still have not done any dungeons, guys. I'm really sorry. I failed you. I don't know. It's this little hurdle thing that I have to get over. I'm sure that once I do it once, I'll be fine. And I know rogues don't do bad or horrific damage in dungeons as it is. So I shouldn't be too worried, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just that signing up and just a whole group and, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm much more a solo player than I used to be, which is really bad because I really do want a guild. That's my other thing. I want to thank you guys so much for giving me all these guild suggestions, because some of them are really, really nice. But I don't know. Don't you have to be on the same realm to join a guild? Is that not so? I think has that changed? I'm so out of the loop when it comes to that. That's how long ago I've joined a guild. But I always thought that you had to be on the same realm as where the guild is. And for me personally, I don't really want to leave my server. I love my realm. So I'm still trying to find something on that realm. Something RP-ish, hopefully. That maybe, you know, maybe a little bit of PvE, PvP in between. Basically, I'm looking for a guild that does everything. So I'm still running around on the cesspool that is the official forums. I am running around there and just checking out some of the posts, and I have my eye on a few of them. Let's just say like that. So yeah, we'll see. Other than that, just bit of dailies for the rep grinds, which has been fine. Seeing more of the Alliance areas, because I actually want to get Pathfinder done. That's my first goal now. I'm just going to explore everything, which is fine. I have to say, Terra Sound? Is that Terra's Guard Sound? I don't know. I'm so sorry, Alliance. I'm so crap at your areas with naming them. But that area is so beautiful, and it reminds me a little bit of Holland, and I think that's just because of the windmills. As soon as I see windmills, I'm like, oh my god, it's home. So yeah, that was really nice. I like the music is really, really beautiful, and I'm having a blast still. Still really, really enjoying Battle for Azeroth. But I wouldn't be an altaholic if it wouldn't have been for, you know, the lure of other alts. In all fairness, what I should really be doing is play on my Alliance Hunter and just continue the storyline. But I'm a little bit curious about some of the other classes that I've never played, and I think that's because I never suspected that I would love Rogue or Warrior this much, and I really am enjoying them. Now I'm debating, maybe I should try some classes that I have dismissed so quickly in the past just because I thought, nah, it's not for me, you know, I don't play like that. So the classes I am a little bit curious about are Demon Hunter, because I hear it's like Rogue, a bit more twitchy, but that's fine. I also hear they're quite good at DPS and tanking, so that has my interest. Monks, I hear that monks overall are really good. I don't know how they are as tanks, but maybe you guys know and like to enlighten me in that. But I hear they are quite good with their DPS and their healing, you know, so at least you have like an interesting off-spec if you want to. And then of course there's Priest, because Priest healing is actually not much of the healing I've done in the past. I used to have a Disc Priest, and I really liked healing on her. Like, it was so much, for me it was a lot of fun. And then it all changed in, I think it was Warlords, but yeah, I just didn't play it that much anymore, and I didn't enjoy it. Now I'm actually kind of debating going back to disc, not leveling as a shadow, but actually playing it as disc. And I don't know if I should or not. And then of course there's still my warrior. You know, the warrior will always be there. Yeah, I'm really curious to start playing all of that, but I feel like I have too much to do in Battle for Azeroth on my main character, my rogue, and then really on my hunter. So I don't know when to do all of this. And I know there's no rush. There's absolutely no rush with any of it. So I'm not going to go, oh my god, I don't know what to do anymore, it's too much, and then you log off. I've seen a lot of people treat this as work, and then they get so stressed and they start logging off because they are overwhelmed with all the stuff they can do. Maybe I am a incredibly nerdy planner. There is a reason why I own 2 planners in real life, in all honesty, but maybe it's because I am a planner that I actually have something in front of me, writing down what I want to achieve each week, and then I have some loose goals, like those dungeons, for instance. But I have a few of those loose goals, like maybe do a dungeon, or maybe try this, or maybe see how this class plays. I could always do like 1 or 2 levels on one of those new classes. But for me, at the moment, my main priority is Pathfinder, and I'm doing the easy bit, which is basically explore all the things, then get my rep grinds, and I do the rep grinds / doing the world quest, because you need 100, I think, isn't it? Don't you need 100 or 200 world quests for Pathfinder Part 1? So I just figured, you know what, I'll just do both at the same time. If I come across a world quest that seems easy enough, I'll do it. Or if I can group up for it and it takes no time, it all adds up. And the rep will come slowly. I mean, you have the app, so there's no rush. I know some people feel very much like, oh my god, I need to get this, my gear score needs to be up, I need to have this at a minimum, I need to start raiding now because otherwise I have quote-unquote failed. Don't know why you would have failed. Maybe if your guild is really, pushing for progression and you need to be raid ready. I don't have that, and I don't want to play like that. I already have a job where I have to meet targets, so this is so not for me. I just do what is fun. But like I said, my main priority at the moment is finding a guild, just because I want to be social again. I miss having that banter I had, like I had with Fasha. It's just really nice being in a guild where you make friends, and I don't know if it's my age range, because I'm kind of like, not a teenager anymore, unfortunately. It's just a little bit harder this time around. So I'm hoping to find some like-minded people. And that doesn't mean I haven't been in great guilds. I have had really amazing guilds and amazing guildies. It's just, people sometimes get different interests, people move away from the game, and then the guild is just not really how it was anymore. It just all changes. It's as simple as that, and now I'm just hoping to find something that will fit me again. I don't know. I don't know how we got from how much my weekend WoW into this whole philosophical way of finding a guild, but that's really what happens. In another thing, I also really feel that I don't have enough character slots on one server because I can only really create one more character, and I really thought, well, you know what, I don't want to really make a Dark Iron Dwarf. Not that they're not cool, but I don't really play dwarves as it is, and the Dark Iron Dwarves, even though they look really cool, I just couldn't see myself playing them. And now I'm kind of like, maybe I should, but I want a Magar Orc, so I don't know what to do anymore, and I only have one more slot. I think I'll probably go for the Magar Orc, but I'm not quite sure what to create. And I know we'll get Zandalari and Coltera's humans. It's just not enough, Blizz. Please just let me have like 50 character slots on one server. That would make me so happy. Why do I need to have them spread all over different servers? I don't need that. Just that one server, that's all I need. And that would make me happy. So I'm hoping that is my whisper. I'm hoping that we will get that. 50 characters on one server. There's no limit to that anymore. If you want 50 characters, fine. You can have them on your main server if that's what you want. don't know why that restriction is still in place. No clue. But yeah, so be it. So that was really my weekend. Wow, that was a lot of rambling about all the things I didn't achieve, really. Luckily, you have some interesting stuff to listen to, which is my amazing, I think it was my amazing interview with Michael, also known as Tears on the Internet. Of course, you will remember Michael from the Blue Recluse. I've interviewed all the lovely men from the Blue Recluse. So I shall leave you with that interview and I will catch you after. And today I am joined by, finally my set is complete, Michael from the Blue Recluse.
Hello, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. So Michael, let's just jump into it immediately. Tell the listeners about yourself.
There's not much to know, but I am a co-host on the Blue Recluse Podcast. For those who know, you've already heard Marty, you've already heard Tom. You heard Tom for a long time. He likes to talk. But initially, I was just a listener of the Blue Recluse Podcast, and I was just trying to get into finding some more people to play Blizzard games with, and I came across the podcast, and eventually they were talking about how they were looking for a co-host, and I wasn't going to do it because I didn't have the time, and I was like, I don't know enough about these games to talk about it every week. But I eventually decided to take the chance and ask the guys if I could try out. They gave me a chance, and lo and behold, over a year later, I am still podcasting with them on the Blue Recluse each and every week.
Wow.
And we have recently launched our newest podcast, which you guys have all heard of, which is the Nerd This podcast, which has been a lot of fun so far. So that's pretty much an introduction to me. There's not a whole lot left.
It must be challenging at times, with the time difference, because I know that, Tom is in Ireland and Marty is in Denmark, and then you're in America.
We've pretty much settled on a schedule that works for all of us. It's like midday to evening for them while it's morning for me on a weekend. So that has been pretty set in stone for a long time. Initially, they recorded it on a different day, and I was okay with that. But when I started my new job, we actually switched it, and the guys were really good about being able to do that. So when we switched it, we've kept it that way for over a year now.
That's really good. I think that's great when podcast hosts can work that way with each other. And it does feel like the three of you have, because I remember back to days when it was just the two of them, but I do feel like having you there, it adds so much more, and it's so nice to see how well the three of you work with everything, also because you have such a big, you pick all the Blizzard games, not just Warcraft like here, but all the games, so it's nice to see that all of you have something that you can talk about then, and that everything gets enough attention.
Yes, they like to joke around that the only reason they brought me on was to fill their quota of like StarCraft and Diablo news, but it was actually really nervous when I was with them for the beginning parts, because they were the ones that I always used to listen to. They were kind of like, I was nerding out over podcast people. It's really weird, but eventually it just kind of settled in, and we flow together really well, and we all have difference of opinions, which is really good for podcasting because we find a middle ground, and it's awesome. But it's times that we disagree that the best conversations happen.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely agree with that you get the best views, I think, when there's different perspectives on the subject, or and sometimes it can open, I guess, your mind a little bit to another view from someone.
That, and it helps with dead air. Whenever there's something going on, we can just argue for a while.
I think that's the biggest threat to any podcaster, isn't that? Dead air. Like, oh, okay, nothing else to say now. Before
we started live streaming, I think we had a little bit more parts of dead air, and when we decided to make the switch to live streaming was when we finally felt that we didn't have a lot of that. So we finally had felt comfortable enough with each other to kind of make that shift, because we were like, hey, we don't have a lot of dead air, so that's not going to be something that we have to worry about. It'll lighten the editing load. Some people love the editing, like they get to change things, make it so that it fits the way that they want it presented. And while they were doing a lot of that for a while, Marty taking on a million projects, Tom doing a million projects, they wanted something a little bit simpler. So we settled in the live stream once we were comfortable, and personally, I love doing it live.
Yeah, no, I have to say, because I was a very honored guest what was it, last week or the week before?
It was last week.
Last week. God, it goes so quick. And it's just, I like it. I really, really like it, that it's live. Just, it brings that extra thing to the table. I think doing it on Twitch and having, interaction with an audience, I think that's really, really cool. I think that's a very unique way of doing it.
Yeah, podcasts aren't traditionally probably meant to be live streamed. Like, it doesn't really fit that medium. And one thing that we're really careful of is that we understand that we started as a audio podcast. So we still want to make it, even if we are interacting with the chat or doing things on Twitch, that it's still accessible to our audio listeners. So if we're joking about each other's hair or facial hair, we like to describe it so that the audio listeners only can still be a part of that. That was part of the big thing. I think Marty was like drawing a line in the sand that was like, we still need to make it audio focused.
Yeah. No, and I think that you guys have done that, because every time when you describe something or of what's being seen or what's is being said in the chat, you always take that time for just the podcast listeners, and that's really good. I think you guys have found a perfect balance in that. Have you got the podcast bug now with all the projects?
I have, like, being on there. So I realized I'm not that good with all the stuff that goes into podcasting itself. I just like talking about things that I enjoy. For the longest time, I remember not having people to talk about my video game stuff with. All my friends are sports people for the main part, so we had sports in common, but video games, I didn't have that. Now I found you through them. I found the guys from the Blizzard Umbrella, and then Frasley, and listening to all these other podcasters. It's just been really exciting to not just be with the Blue Recluse, but also getting to experiment with other people of similar interests and differentiating opinions, and just kind of getting out there and meeting other people of similar interests. It's pretty amazing that a podcast could do that. Just one podcast did that for me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And look where it got you. You're doing Nerd This and all those other future projects. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, I've made it big now that I'm on Whispers of War, so.
Well, that's your words, not mine. Well, thank you. No, I'm very happy to have you finally on, because I think this is the first time that I have you on one of my shows, so it's really, really nice to talk to you now without the other guys. Let's start with where it all began for you. Now, we were going to switch it up a little bit, so we're more going to talk about how you got into the whole world of Blizzard, not just Warcraft. So, how did that bug happen to you?
So, I know most of your guests, their main thing is World of Warcraft, and while my main thing was Warcraft, it wasn't World of Warcraft. I actually got my start in Blizzard games by watching my dad play Warcraft 2. And this is really weird, but we never had a gaming computer or a computer period growing up. So not a well-known fact is that Warcraft 2 was released on the PlayStation 1. It was ported over. It's a horrible port. Don't even go back and try it.
Don't try it.
But that's actually how I got my start, was watching him play. And I just remember hearing all the little noises and watching him build a base and Vengeance for Zurjin and all these other things. And it was so awesome to me because I love fantasy. So watching him play that just it got me in the bug early on. I was not old enough to comprehend what was going on, but it was fun watching it. And then he started playing StarCraft 64 on the Nintendo 64, which is Brood War and the original StarCraft. We still didn't have a computer at this point. So it was like the RTS bug was planted in me.
Yeah.
And fast forward years on, still have not played any of the games myself. It's 2009 or so, and the trailer comes out for StarCraft 2. And I'm floored. I have the flashbacks of the N64, and I'm like, what is this thing? So I was in the military at the time. I was in Japan, and I went out and bought all the parts to build my first computer, and I built it specifically to play StarCraft 2.
Wow, that's dedication.
And I loved it. I sucked at the game so much, but the story got me so involved. I was hooked on it. I loved it. Then Diablo 3 came around, and oh my god, I'm clicking like crazy. Now I get what they're all talking about. And still at that time, no World of Warcraft.
Wow.
I remember I was keeping up with lore stuff, but I hadn't played it because I was a console gamer for the longest. So paying monthly for a game, what is that nonsense? Nobody does that. World of Warcraft was done after that episode of South Park, right? And I think it was Mists of Pandaria was out, and one of the guys in the military in the barracks actually invited me in, and he was like, hey man, like, you want to play this game over here? I haven't played it for a while, but I'm looking to roll a new character. And I'm like, that game's still around? And he's like, yeah, let's go play it. So I actually got my first feet wet in Mists of Pandaria, and I got yelled at for trying to be a panda. So
But it's all about the pandas in that expansion, isn't it?
I love the pandas. Okay, they were in Warcraft 3, so they're lore, they're canon. Get over it. So I wanted to be a panda, and he said no. So we rolled undead, and of course, fantasy game, you either go warrior, mage, or warlock your first time through. So I went for a mage, and we played for a bit. It was only like the first 20 levels or so, and I was like, yeah, this game's not for me. So
Okay.
I put it away for a while. You know, more StarCraft. You know, that's everybody's been there, right? Come on, why play Warcraft when there's StarCraft to be played? So put it on the back burner for a long time. In the meantime, I'm just going back playing Warcraft 3, loving it because it's RTS, and I finally get to play it on the computer, and the story is amazing. Then I tried again in Warlords of Draenor. Just kind of loaded it up a bit, hit level 20 again, and still not feeling it. Not really my thing. And then I'm playing all the Blizzard games, Heroes of the Storm. It's about 2014, I think, and I went to BlizzCon.
Okay.
I went to BlizzCon for the sole reason of being able to play that cool new game, Heroes of the Storm, and watch StarCraft 2. And there's a whole bunch of dark monitors here. What are they going to do? And then they revealed Overwatch, and I was like, oh my god, that looks cool. And I wanted to do that. And looking at all these people, I thought World of Warcraft was dead because I wasn't part of the scene. I wasn't part of the Blizzard community. I was just playing StarCraft 2 mostly. And when they did their little introduction of who plays a little game called World of Warcraft, and the crowd went absolutely nuts, it was like I was transported to a different place.
Wow.
I was like, where am I? Like, this is insane how many people are still into it. And I got caught up in the atmosphere so much. And immediately when I got back, I started looking around for podcasts about it. I'm like, let me figure out what's going on, because I played Star Wars The Old Republic, and that's an MMO. I enjoyed it, but I don't want to get into another one, especially one that's been around for over 10 years that has a million things to do that I can't put my time into. And I got sucked in. I started listening to like the instance and convert to raid, and then I have no idea how I found them, but I came across the Blue Recluse. And I was like, these guys are speaking my language. All these other podcasts are talking about stats and all these other things. I don't understand that. That doesn't fit me. And they're just casually talking about it on the Blue Recluse. And I wrote them something. I was like, I think the email was something along the lines of, hey, I just started and I boosted a character and I'm so lost because there's so many things. Like, why am I not figuring things out? And they're like, we suggest you level from start.
Yeah.
They're like, you're going to be overwhelmed if you just boost a character. So I took their advice and I kept listening, and I started leveling, and slowly but surely caught that bug. I caught it and I leveled all the way up. Legion had just released by the time that I was getting to max level.
Yeah.
So I was able to catch up right as Legion was happening. Like right as the pre-expansion things ended, that's when I was full on in, and I knew like, okay, I'm going to be here for this for a while. Now when I say a while, I meant like 2 months, you know. I thought it was going to be 2 months, and then I'm seeing all the characters from Warcraft 3, Illidan comes back, and I'm just super excited, I'm super hyped, and it was just so exciting to be a part of it. And it's kind of like my journey into World of Warcraft, and Battle for Azeroth is my first expansion that I've kind of been with as it launched. And we're going to get into it, but I've been having some fun.
That's really cool. So I'm really happy to hear how that changed for you, because, you know, we need more Warcraft players.
We could always use more Warcraft players.
Exactly. So one thing I'm really curious about, so when you heard the change, and I'm sure that you guys have talked about this on the Blue Recluse, that nowadays for new players that you don't have to buy every expansion. It's just, you buy the latest expansion and you basically get everything before that for free. How do you find that change?
That is actually, for me, it was a big selling point. Because I'm like, oh, I don't have to buy every single thing just to play the most recent. I think you pay the base game, or you just buy the subscription and then you're good to go. And if there's a new expansion, obviously you got to pay for the new expansion. I was okay with that because the idea of paying, let's say, pay for the base game $20, pay $20 for Burning Crusade, and then the same for Wrath, and then Cataclysm, and then all these things, that would turn me off right away. But the ease of entry was one of the selling points. It's okay, even if I don't like it, that's not a huge barrier. I've paid $60 for games that I hated before. What's the worst that could happen?
I think we've all been there, right? With pre-orders, and then it doesn't live up to the hype, unfortunately.
Oh yes, I've stopped pre-ordering things. Well, I lied. I pre-ordered Battle for Azeroth.
Yeah, because I think we all know that with anything, Blizzard can still crank out decent enough games, so it's kind of worth it. But yeah, no, I know the pain of pre-ordering certain games. With the whole, going into World of Warcraft, how did you experience the launch of an expansion? Because this would be your first one, like you said. How do you experience that hype? Did you stay up for it until?
Luckily, I'm American, so I
yes,
didn't have to stay up. It launched at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just so happened to not have work that day. I didn't take it off. I just didn't have work that day. I think I had 2 full days, so I was online about an hour before the expansion launched. I was on Discord with Marty and Tom, and we're chatting it up before, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, it's active. And the Discord just gets quiet as we start getting involved with all this, and then slowly we start dropping out of the call because we're like, I need to go watch this cutscene, so we're just gonna leave the call and experience this.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? The first time to experience a launch of an expansion?
Oh, it's so different than anything else. It's really hard to put into words exactly those feelings that you get, because for the first time, everyone was doing the same thing for me. It wasn't just, oh, I'm behind, and these are just the people that are also behind. It was everybody clicking on Magni at the same time, hoping that his thing actually pops up. And all of those problems that happened with launch that some people had said that they had, I didn't have that. There was some lag here and there, but I expected that. It's who knows how many players trying to play all at once. I expected that to happen, but kudos to Blizzard. It was relatively smooth on my end, and I enjoyed it right away.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I didn't stay up for it because I'm old and I need to go to sleep. But I just thought, just seeing that the tweets and just people in the community, yeah, there were some hiccups, but it is online worldwide, and considering this was the first time it was worldwide, I think they did really well in comparison to other times when it was really, really frustrating. So
I've heard the stories. I wasn't a part of those, but I've heard the stories.
Oh, you don't want to be part of those, I can tell you that. So let's go back to World of Warcraft. Now, you said that you had rolled Forsaken to begin with.
Yes.
For Battle for Azeroth. Have the guys convinced you to go Alliance with them, or have you stayed Horde?
Okay, so they did not convince me to go to Alliance. Okay, despite what Tom might say or whatever they say, they did not convince me to go to Alliance. I'm a Horde at heart. Mm-hmm. I love the Horde and I want to be on the Horde. I went Alliance because some friends that I had met on Twitch, they had a guild, and at the time I was trying to find people to play with because all my friends were in Europe. And I was like, I got nobody to play with. Everybody's in Europe. So they were all American side, and they're like, hey, we have a guild, but it's on a RP server, and it's Alliance. If you don't mind switching servers and switching factions and switching race, then we'll have you. So I jumped ship, and my Tauren had a, how do you say, he went under the knife a bit and became a dwarf.
Okay, that's quite the operation.
Yes, he was confused inside all along, and finally he became what he wanted to be. But he became a dwarf paladin from a Tauren paladin, and eventually that guild fell apart, and I had tried to figure out, do I want to go back to the Horde, or do I want to stay on the Alliance side and figure out what's going on over here with the new guild? So I made the decision to stay on the Alliance side and find a new guild, which I'm in right now. And it's been good, but truthfully, story-wise and faction-wise, I'm with the Horde. I have a Horde hat. I have a Horde shirt. I'm Horde, but I play Alliance.
Would you say that you're undercover Horde?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that statement.
Just in case your war chief is listening, you never know.
There are wolves on this side. I don't want to anger anybody.
No, I understand. Well, in all fairness, I've been Alliance for forever, and I'm still bifactional, so I'm not judging at all.
I mean, I guess my love for the Horde comes from Warcraft 3, to be honest. Like, just the whole storyline with Bane and Thrall, like, that kind of got me. And then I lost track of Thrall when he started to become a shame, and more so when the black armor went away. That's kind of when I was like, come on, Thrall, you want to go play with magic over there? What happened to you? You used to have big old hammer. What happened?
Very true. And, and then it just became a little bit messy. Like, we could have had such an amazing troll leader for, like, a hot second, and that was it.
Oh, I love the trolls. I wish, well, I guess I don't have to wish anymore. There's a bunch of troll stuff going on right now. The problem is I don't have enough time to get there.
I know. I have the same thing for Alliance. Like, I'm just like, well, yeah, I'm 120 now, but I want to see the Alliance side, but there's so much more to do. I need to, start all of this. It's like a second job at times.
It is, especially if you want to raid, then you got to make decisions. Do I want to raid on this side, or do I just want to do story content on both sides? There's not enough time in the day. Why does work have to be a thing?
I know. It just sucks being an adult, I guess.
There are things that should come free in life. Housing, food, water, World of Warcraft subscriptions, and no need to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. I think so. That would be great.
Yes, it would.
So, let's go to Battle for Azeroth. What are you most impressed with so far?
For me, the cohesive story, for sure. Just going through the zones has been smooth, seamless. I don't feel like there's a break in between things, even though the stories are separate. They flow so well together, and everything seems connected in some way or another. Sometimes in Legion it felt a bit disjointed. Like, you could see what they were trying to do, but the way that they had broken up the zones and the storyline, it just kind of felt like, okay, you finished this zone, now you're on a different Mario level type deal. So it didn't flow as well as I would like, but this is just, the storytelling is amazing. Every time there's a cinematic, well, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of, like, the models. I understand that they're better than what they used to be, but after playing games like God of War on the PS4, the models look a bit, but I'll give it a pass because the content that's there is truly amazing.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why Blizzard is doing it that way is so that it can be run on most people's PCs nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I want to say that Drustvar, I hear you were questing in that area.
Yeah.
That is so far my most favorite zone in the game.
How come?
It's like, that's my vibe. Like that old school witch hunt. I think you mentioned it actually, the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
I love things like that. And the music, first of all, the music in every zone is amazing, but how haunting and eerie it is in that area, and how the townsfolk are like those people that are the Puritans that are scared of what's going on and they're willing to burn people alive that they know is innocent, but if it will just ease their mind for half a minute, they'll do it. And I love that type of environment.
Yeah, I have to admit, once I started playing in Drustvar, I started watching my Netflix series were like, okay, I'm going to watch Salem now. I'm also going to watch The Witch that was on there.
Salem is such a good show for those who haven't watched it. I still need to watch season 3, but I love that show.
Yeah, it's if you want to get into the whole, Puritans and the witch trials and just anything that is... I thought it was quite creepy with like foresty areas and things. That's what you need to watch. If you can handle stuff like that, a bit of horror, then that's what you need to look into, because it gives you another perspective on playing WoW, I feel.
Oh yeah, especially if you're going through Drustvar.
Yes. Yeah, I do like Drustvar. What is the thing that you are least impressed with, though?
I guess it's to be expected, but I'm not a fan of the rep grind. Mm-hmm. It kind of halts things, especially when you just want to continue certain things like story. Yeah. And they kind of gate it behind, oh, you don't have enough 7th Legion, which is the, how do you say, they give out the missions for the Alliance side.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent for the Honor Bound, I think, yes. For Horde.
Yeah, so the fact that you can't do that as quickly as you want, I understand why they do it. They did it in Legion as well, stuff like that. But to me, I was hoping that it would be something a bit different.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I know how it grinds to a halt, because I had that. You do your first war campaign. I don't know how it is on the Alliance side, but on Horde side, you have to get your first settlement, basically. You do some quests with scouting the area and killing people, of course. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, come back when you have more reputation. I'm like, I've just done all this stuff for you.
You just established a base. Now leave it alone for a while. Come back later.
It feels a little bit like, oh, yeah, I guess I have to do World Quest then.
Yeah, and nobody actively goes out and is super excited to do World Quests.
No, I don't know what that is, because it is, in a way, a very easy way to get the stuff that you need, reputation, Azerite, gear, but it's just, I don't know what it is with World Quest that you're just a little bit like, yeah, no.
It feels like a chore. Rather than something that you kind of want to do, it feels more like a chore, like it's just a checklist. I have to do this to get that piece of gear, rather than the story content, which you do because you want to see the story unfold. This is more of, I just need that piece of gear so I can get to heroic dungeons already.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It really does feel like that. And to unlock, the Pathfinder achievements, because you have to do 100 of them.
Oh my god.
Well, if you want to have flying, that is something to start working on, I guess.
Yes, I think I need to do that.
That's alright, I made a list for myself if you need to start doing this, so... I guess with World Quest, the best thing you can do is when you're already in an area and you see it pop up...
Just do it. Yeah, let's do it.
And if you find a good group, it goes really quick.
I wouldn't know. I haven't done many World Quests. I actually just finished the zones completely today.
Oh, nice.
I hit like 120 within the first few days, and work happened, so I haven't been playing too much. And Borealis on the Alliance side, Tears Guard Sound is just super massive. Mm-hmm. In terms of its story content. All the zones are actually, like, they're very heavy. Like, there's so much crammed into this expansion. Yeah. And I love it and I hate it at the same time, because I'm just like, I just want to finish this zone and there's still 20 quests popping up and turtles that need escorting and
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's like, well, surely I'm nearing towards the end, and you go to one little hub and it's like, hello, here's 50 quests for you. Like,
yeah.
What?
I thought I just finished the zone yesterday, and then you ding 120 and there's new quests there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And they keep popping up even in old areas because of time gates and things like that, so... Lots of stuff to do. Do you have any good tips for anyone who, started BFA and things that you might have run into that you're like, oh, I wish I would have done that, or anything else that you think people should see in game if they haven't seen it yet?
I know some people just like to kind of rush through the main story bits, and they skip a lot of the side story, and I just want to say that this expansion especially, a lot of the side story actually ties into the main story. So definitely check out as much questing as you can and read it. Read the quest text. I know some people, especially even big podcasters, Pat Crane I think was talking about, he's notorious for not reading them and he takes pride in it, but there's so much good stuff in there. Like if you're the type of player that runs out of things to do, maybe it's because you're not reading everything. There's so much there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And even me, like being such a lore nerd, at times I have to admit, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, click. What do I need to kill now?
And also, if anybody out there is trying to do dungeons and things like that, pick a class that has a tank or a healer spec, because those queues can be tremendously long if you're a DPS. I've seen things upwards of like 25 minutes waiting for just a normal dungeon to pop. So
because you play paladin. Are you healing or tanking?
Normally I like to tank, but my guild already has tanks. So I leveled as a tank and I'm switching over to ret so that I can raid, because I can't raid as a tank. But I do switch back to tank every now and then in order to do maybe some mythic plus, things like that. But for the majority of it, I'm going to probably go ret.
So this is cute, because I've been toying with maybe leveling a paladin tank. How are you finding the groups? Or are you going with your guilds most of the time?
Actually, I've been doing some randoms because the guild is already filled with people that are doing mythic and stuff like that. So I let them do their thing. The groups have not been too bad, and no one's been yelling or anything like that. It's still early on, so people are a little bit more accepting, I think. And usually I think it's the tank or the healer that gets the most flack anyway. But I haven't gotten too much flack, even though I'm slow. I'm slow as a tank, especially in the early stages, because I don't know what all the trash does. I'm running through a normal dungeon, treating it like it's a mythic dungeon, trying to figure out everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Because I hate to let the team down and I pull too much and just die. But it's been relatively good. I've seen a couple instances where a tank or somebody will queue up as a tank and they're not a tank spec.
Great.
And then they'll just jump around and they won't do anything. So I'll switch in dungeon from ret to protection paladin and just handle it.
That's really good. I might have to start checking out paladin tanking then. I might have to, once I've done all the other things.
So about 5 years from now, that's when you're going to try it out.
Probably, yeah. Unfortunately, it's just there's so much to do at the moment.
I will say this, your survival as a paladin tank, like there's so many things to like heal you. It's so cool.
I have heard that. Paladins have a lot of cool tricks this time around, and even leveling as a tank. I've heard many classes say that actually leveling as a tank is much more fun than their DPS role. So
it's a lot easier. You don't have to stop so much to heal, and especially as a paladin tank, you have so many healing options that you can continuously progress. I just switched back to my ret spec today, and I was like, oh my god, I have to flash of light after every battle right now just to heal up. Like, I'm still able to handle it, but it's a different experience. My girlfriend has to ask me sometimes, like, hey, can you come help me with this, because I can't do it. She's a mage. Suggested player 3 means nothing to me as a paladin tank. It just means it's going to be a long grind battle, but I can run in there and do it by myself, while she can't do it. She gets whacked twice and she's dead.
Yeah. No, I know that pain as a rogue. Absolutely. I have to vanish a lot in between. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. Do you have any whispers that you're like, okay, and for everyone who's like, what the fuck is a whisper? So, the podcast is called Whispers of War, and the whisper is more like a thing that you want to happen in the future. Something like a rumor you might have heard and think, let's go into that, or a bit of fairy crafting.
All right, I do, and it's probably not a popular opinion, but so I actually really like Sylvanas. She's like, first of all, Jaina is number 1 in my heart and in my life. but Sylvanas is like the Horde equivalent, and I love her and I love her story. I don't approve of wildfires in the forest, but sometimes things happen.
It just happens.
It was a cooking fire that went wrong. So I actually hope, while some people don't want to see another redemption story because we kind of saw it with Illidan, I want to see something where Sylvanas kind of becomes the ranger general that she once was, but in the process, she ends up having to sacrifice herself in order to save somebody. And the aftermath kind of has Anduin given a little bit of a eulogy, but the people are actually still happy that she's dead. And it kind of is like a tragic story where even though she was redeemed in the end, like virtually, she's not redeemed in the eyes of the people because of all the atrocities that she did over the course of her time as the Banshee Queen. So she goes down in this way that would make kind of other people, kind of like a Darth Vader, where like the person that was there saw her in a new light, but to everyone else, she was still the menace of the universe. And I think that would be, I'm a fan of like those tragic endings because that's probably how it would really happen. So I kind of want to see that story unfold.
That would be an interesting twist on it. I would like that, just to see how it would create a new story, I guess, in the Horde and in the Alliance. That would be interesting.
I do hope that the Horde gets a stable leader. That's what I
that
want.
would be nice. I hope a troll leader for once. That would be even better.
You have one for half an expansion.
I know. May I suggest a female troll that we've just been introduced to? She seems quite stable and powerful, so...
Oh my god. I saw that, I think it's the opening for the Horde side. I saw that one and I was like, ooh, that's cool.
That's, I think Talanji is very impressive, and will be interesting to see where they take her. I hope that she won't just disappear like Irel and all those other strong females like Agra, and then that's it,
All three of them.
Yeah, just gone. So much potential and then gone. Now, I'm going to switch it up a little bit because, you are now in the podcasting community, but you came into the Warcraft community quite late sometimes compared to maybe other people.
Oh, yeah.
What has the Warcraft community meant to you?
It's a bit of a loaded question. For me, the Warcraft community has it's given me a home on the internet and outside of the internet. While I haven't met most of the people that I've met through like the Warcraft community or the Blizzard community or anything like that, it has given me a sense of belonging that wasn't there before. It filled the spot that I was searching for that I could never find in the physical space, but it's allowed me to interact with so many people. The podcast community for me is it goes hand in hand with the Warcraft community, because the podcasts that I was listening to initially were Warcraft or Blizzard game specific podcasts, and through that I've met so many people, and each and every week I look forward to recording the Blue Recluse with Tom and Marty, and it's been that way for over a year, where I'm super excited no matter how we do it, just to be there with those guys and talking with them. And that's a direct World of Warcraft influence, because listening to the podcast initially, I wasn't going to them for StarCraft news or Heroes of Storm news. I was in for the funny voices and the World of Warcraft aspect, and just listening to them talk, and later on being able to call them friends and call other people in the community friends, and meeting all these awesome people, including yourself, and witnessing all the different things that you've done. Like, I know you've had 2 other podcasts at least before this one. So it's transformative for somebody who felt like they were alone to find so many people that may have at one time felt the same way, until they found this community like I did, and finally found a place that they could call safe zone, home, just a place to hang out.
Oh, that's lovely. I really like that. I like that story and that view. That's very, very, very heartwarming. And just really, I think everyone who listens to this is very happy that you're part of the Warcraft community now.
I love being a part of it. I mean, we, like every community, you have those outliers that are the ones that get the headlines. And but, I mean, every community has that. It comes with the territory of being so widespread, and you don't make it until you have some haters out there, so...
Very true, very true. I mean, we do have to have some trolls in every community, I guess.
Yep, that's why they're in World of Warcraft. They just had to be there.
Exactly. Well, Michael, thank you so much for this interview. If people want to find out more about you and all the stuff that you do, where can people find you?
So pretty much like we've said with Tom and Marty, you can find me on the Blue Recluse Podcast. You can find me on Nerd This Podcast. And the best way to do all that would just be to check out dragonpoweredstudios.com. Mm-hmm. That has the link to both of those podcasts as well as some others. And you can also check us out on Twitch. I believe the link is on there as well. So if you like what you hear, just check those out. If you want to find me on Twitter, I tweet random things and retweet random things. Acid Tears 111.
Perfect. And I will put all the links in the show notes as always. So thank you so much, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
I hope so. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. It was lovely talking to Michael. So if you want to catch more of him, make sure that you listen to The Blue Recluse. And of course, the topic of the week was, how did you start in the world of Blizzard games, or how did you start in World of Warcraft? And you guys have been amazing with your replies. Thank you so much for the retweets and replying, because I have a lot of reading to do now and a lot of names to butcher. So let's not stop with that. Here we go. Jarfinator said, I started with Lost Vikings on the Super Nintendo and then found Warcraft Orcs vs. Humans on the PC. Then I was hooked from there. That's so cool that you actually played Lost Vikings. That's one of the games I've never ever played. I've never played the first Warcraft games. I've only played Warcraft 3. I still can't pronounce that number. But yeah, no, that's really cool. How do you guys think that we should get a remake of Lost Vikings? Because, you see a lot of those games, like DuckTales has been remade, and that was on the Super Nintendo. So that would be kind of cool. I think if we get maybe Lost Vikings or something, I would enjoy that. Small Fry said, a woman at work knew I played MMOs. She just had a baby and couldn't play anymore, so she talked it up, trying to get me to play. Clever, very clever. I would come in each day and tell her what I did that previous night. She was playing vicariously through me. Current boss is doing the same. That is so amazing. I wish that I had more people in work who actually played the game. I used to, in my old job, we had a group of people who played, and that was so much fun. But now I feel like a bit like the freak, oh yeah, that's the gamer, the that stigma that you get as a gamer. So that's really cool. I'm really, really happy for you that you have such cool colleagues. JM said Warcraft 1, Orcs and Humans. So that's a while ago. I really want to try that game for I don't know. But RTSs are much more forgiving when it comes to graphics. So maybe if I get my hands on it. I'm going to butcher this name because I might pronounce it too Dutch. Jingsi? Is that, or is it Gingsi? Sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm butchering your name. They said, I used to be in a virtual world called Second Life, when a couple of friends got me to try a trial account with them. Within the first 2 hours on my Belf Hunter, I was hooked and got a sub. Wow, Warcraft did really well there. I mean, Belf Hunter is pretty much like really fun to play, so I kind of understand why you wanted it, but that's really good that they dragged you in immediately to get a sub. They must have done something right there. I know Second Life. I don't think it was back in that time, but I remember seeing all the ads. I've never played it myself, but I've seen all the ads. I remember that, and I remember seeing some footage of it. It had a bit of a different rep from the people that I knew that played it, or at least that told me about it. But even so, every game has a certain rep, doesn't it? So with Second Life, I want to know, how many of you guys have played Second Life? And why did you play it? Was it really just more like, is it like the virtual chat that you have now in game? what is it, the VR chat? I think that's it. That's what it's called. That's what all the hip kids play now. I don't know. Is it something like that? Anyhow, let's continue. Wizard Life Studio said, I was playing Battlefield 2 and my helicopter pilot started playing WoW, so I tried it as well. Ran around as a druid in elf form, hitting mobs with my staff while casting Rejuve. I eventually figured it out and have kept Azeroth safe. Hey, there's nothing wrong with hitting mobs with your staff, okay? I am sure that many a druid has done that. So, well done. But yeah, that's really, really interesting that you actually played Battlefield 2 and your pilot started to, abandon you when you had to kind of like see what he was doing. So I like that. I like that. MS said, Warcraft 1 Orcs versus Humans. I loved RTS games. This is very popular with you guys, isn't it? And I have to say, there's nothing wrong with RTSs. I used to play a lot of RTSs back in the day, so I think a part of me is like, I'm just really surprised I've never played Orcs versus Humans. I just can't, that is one of the RTSs that has completely just gone by me, and I'm surprised by myself, really. Ringmaster Kevin, from the Dark Moon Herald, of course, said Diablo 1. I played it at my friend's house because my computer and my parents wouldn't let me play it. Oh, why didn't your parents want you to play it? Was it because it was kind of like, horror? Diablo's not really horror, but you know what I mean. The whole thing that you have devils and demons, and I want to know. Spectacular Death said, my daughter, who played WoW, suggested I'd like this game. I was not convinced. She bought, installed it on my computer and helped me create my dwarf, because they're Scottish, hunter, because it will be a bit easier to understand the game, and that was in 2006. That is so nice. Do you still play together with your daughter? That's what I want to know. Does she still play? That's so nice, and I hope that the dwarves have not disappointed you with the Scottish accent. So if you're still, completely into it, are you going to roll a Dark Iron? Is that something that you would enjoy? Frasley said Warcraft 3 on a LAN at a friend's house. I remember playing Warcraft 3, but weirdly enough, Warcraft 3 was something I played after I got into World of Warcraft. Because, everyone said, oh yeah, well, you need to play this game to know the lore. And I thought, okay, well, let's just try it out. And lo and behold, I got hooked even more. So yeah, no, I would suggest everyone to, if you want to know more about the pre-lore, play some Warcraft 3. I've enjoyed it. Just don't be a graphic snob. That's all I'm going to say. Corky said, I started with the Lost Vikings at age 16. I had just moved to WA. I'm really sorry, guys. Like American places that I'm so bad. From CA, I'm presuming that is California, and wanted a game to keep me occupied during the summer before school started. Here we are 25 years later, and my son has already found his love for Blizzard. That is amazing. Just pass it on. That's one of the things, if I ever have kids, I want to do that as well. And I love the picture of your son and your tweet. That was really, really cool. So yeah, I hope that he's enjoying all the Blizzard stuff as well. I love this name. Plum Loa of Coffee. That's just amazing. That's amazing. Said, I started with Diablo when I was a kid. I discovered WoW when I was a teenager in 2005. I've played off and on ever since. I think a lot of people have started that way. A lot of you seem to have started with Diablo or something similar, or even StarCraft. And then you discover that there's more games in the Blizzard universe. So that's really cool. And I still think your name is amazing. Miss Gillian said, I started in WoW, but like all gateway addictions, it's led me to all the other things Blizzard do. Very true. Very true. They are very good at roping you in with all the other stuff. Because I never thought I would play a shooter, and now I'm kind of like loving Overwatch. So they do some really, really cool stuff. Falamoya Krava, I really hope I pronounced that correctly, because I didn't want to use, your other name on purpose. So I hope I said it correctly. I started all because of Tom the Knight, who we all know as Tom from the Blue Recluse. He made me play Warcraft one night when we were first dating, and I liked it. So a few years later, when he suggested we level something together, I was completely on board. So guys, when you go on your first date, or on your first dates with a girl, you can easily show her World of Warcraft. If she understands what you're into and she gets into it, then she's a keeper. I'm just saying that now. Same for the other way around, by the way, girls. You know, and in all fairness, my boyfriend is so not into it, but he really likes my my name creations for my tunes. I guess that's enough. And my transmogs. That will kind of be it. And then he just wanders off and doesn't understand why I enjoy this game so much. But it's fine. You know, as long as I can just play as much as I want, it's all good. Of course, Bane Bloodhoof tweeted, I'm still surprised that the Tauren can actually, you know, have those massive hands and use a keyboard, but who knows? Very skilled. Bane Bloodhoof said, first StarCraft, then Diablo 2, and then one of my personal best 5 games of all time, Warcraft 3. I love Warcraft 3. I can't, you know, that's really such a great game. Never played the first StarCraft. I did play StarCraft 2, but never the first one. And Diablo, yeah, I've dabbled around in that in the past, so that was really... I didn't even realize back then that I actually played Diablo. I was just like, it's another one of those games. That was back in the days of... oh god, can you guys remember Sacred? I really enjoyed that game. I enjoyed so much of that game, and it felt a little bit like that game. Don't hate me for comparing it. It's just, you know, back in the day, that's all the stuff I played. Zaskira said, I watched someone else play WoW, looked up the information and was pretty meh about it until I saw the gnomes. Started playing during the Burning Crusade, rolled a gnome, and then some hours later an undead. That's from one extreme to the other. I want to know what kind of flavor gnome and undead you played, and why you thought, okay, you know what? Played a gnome now I want an undead. I'm very curious about that. CY, or is it Psy? Warcraft 2 was my gateway into my obsession. Warcraft 2, that's not... Which one is that? I can't remember. Oh god, guys, I'm so bad with all the different Warcraft games. You have to tell me the difference between Warcraft 1 and 2, and not just, oh, it's a number. Just let me know the different stories and what you had to do, because I'm really curious about it. Kristen said WoW first and then a bit of Hearthstone. So Kristen came into World of Warcraft first and now completely into it. You need to tell me how to play this Kristen, because I'm so bad at Hearthstone. I thought I would get the knack of it when I started playing Magic back in the day, but I don't know. Hearthstone almost seems more complicated to me now. Ryakan said, I first started with Warcraft for Orcs vs Humans, then played the heck out of Diablo 2 in college and Warcraft 3 shortly afterwards. Seems like a very steady pattern for a lot of people. Gazimov said, I started with Warcraft Orcs and Humans way back when. From there, I got hooked on the original StarCraft. Love Protoss. WoW was not my first MMO, but the studio and IP legacy made it very attractive. They certainly have made a way for themselves, haven't they, Blizzard? I think they did really, really well with their IPs and just the way that how they cranked out the games and the quality. Robin Baird said it was WoW for me. And I quite like that ending. It was WoW for me. And I think for many of you who started their whole Blizzard experience with World of Warcraft, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's kind of, like I said, I feel like that's how it started for me. Because I don't think I even realized I played Diablo back in the day. I just, grabbed any game at the time that I could get my hands on. And if I enjoyed it, I played it. And if not, that was it. But yeah, I think World of Warcraft was the big one for me. That was really when I started to love everything Warcraft and everything Blizzard. That's when you start to get more into it. Now, I think there was another game, wasn't it? Something like Black Stone? Is that the game? I can't remember. Everyone is probably screaming now at their headsets or whatever. No, it's not. It's Black something else. And I'm really sorry for failing you all. I'm not into my my old games at all. Sorry. Of course, you guys can also email the show, which you've done. Thank you so much for that. It's always nice getting an email, in case you don't want to be limited by your characters for Twitter. And we got the following email. Greetings, Sil. I knowingly got interested in the Blizzard universe when my brother purchased StarCraft. This opened my interest into Blizzard games, and I eventually picked up Warcraft 3 myself, and then eventually World of Warcraft. However, I unknowingly did so earlier, as we had a tendency every now and then on renting Rock and Roll Racing and the Lost Vikings for our SNES. Also, I'm not sure if it's cheating to consider Battle Chess for our old 286 computer, which had some developers that would go on to work for Blizzard. In any account, it's been a long and fun adventure. Tahura Rook. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's cheating at all. If that is, if you feel like that is how you started with the whole Blizzard franchise, then that's it. And it's like what you said, unknowingly you rent like Rock and Roll Racing and the Lost Vikings, and you had no idea that was actually Blizzard. I had the same thing with Diablo. I had no idea like that was actually a Blizzard game, and I had played that in the past until I saw certain things and I'm like, I think I've played this. But again, we're talking about so many years ago now. It's sometimes I already find it a miracle to know what I had for breakfast again. So yeah, this is really interesting, guys. I love seeing how Blizzard basically grabs you and has never let you go. Some other things that I asked you about, of course, because of Exclavier's amazing suggestion about random acts of kindness. He actually gave the first random act of kindness. So he actually tweeted me and said, so my very simple random act of kindness is on my mage. If anyone asks for a portal, they are free. I had someone whisper in Cold Terrace if I could give them a portal to Old Dalaran for 50 gold. I told them no, but I could provide one for free. Also, I'm in the CTR Guild Convert to Raid, I believe that is, on Airy Peak, USA. And I see people posting in guild chat all the time crafted gear they will give away for anyone that responds. Awesome to see people helping others for no reason except being considerate guildmates. That is so lovely. See, and that's the kind of guild I'm looking for, but because I'm EU, I will not be able to join you guys. Yeah, that's really, really nice. I like it that as a mage that you actually give portals to people and that you're not charging for it, because that's I think that's a lovely gesture. So have you guys experienced any random acts of kindness from other players? Maybe someone who took the time to explain something, or who helped you with a quest or hung around with you? Or have you been going that extra little bit out of the way for someone else in the game? Maybe explain something during a dungeon run or anything like that. I would like to hear from you, so make sure that you either tweet or email the show. Now, of course, with the niceness, there's also a bit of a what the fuck moment. So I wanted to know what kind of what the fuck moments you've had. Agara said, when I rolled a Horde character and came upon the Zuldazar city designs compared to Borales. Hey, Zuldazar, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? You just need to get to know the area. Maybe in the beginning it was a bit like, where am I going? Which level is this? But it becomes a lot easier. I will tell you that now, so just keep playing Horde and you will all get to find your ways in Zuldazar. We got more emails and tweets. I want to make you guys aware of an amazing show that's coming out, which is called The Geek Herring. And herring being like almost the Dutch dish of fish, This is a really amazing podcast with two amazing ladies. I've had an amazing interview with them, and they tweeted me back and said, had a fab time chatting with Whispers of War today about the strong badass female characters of Warcraft. So hyped to share this episode with you all. Guys, this is going to be, I mean, I enjoyed it so much, and we ramble a lot, or at least I ramble a lot about all the lore characters we've had in World of Warcraft. Not just for BFA or the Warbringer videos, but everything before that. So if you want to know more about that, keep an eye out for the Geek Herring. Exclavier tweeted and said, I would like to give a big shout out to, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher names again, FSUTJ, and in Lara, for their kindness, helpfulness, and generosity getting me in the Horde for Life Guild on Wormrest Accord with a new hunter, thanks to you talking about them. Final big thanks to the week to Zaknov. Is that the name? Zaknot? And CTR for being my first non-IRL friend in WoW. He's been an extremely generous friend in game, and we even got to meet IRL a few years ago and are still buds to this day. Never would have known him without World of Warcraft. Oh, I like that. I really like it when friendships are formed in World of Warcraft and in game. That's really, really nice. So yeah, if you want to do a shout out via the show, that's fine too. Just tweet me and let me know, and I will butcher all your names. That is a guarantee. And the final message I received was from Kleptic, who said episode 1 is queued up. I'm really sorry, because episode 1 is not very good. So I hope that you've lasted beyond episode 1. Episode 2 is much better. So, but thank you for downloading. And in that regards, again, guys, I don't think you guys realize how much it means to me that you are supporting the show in any way that you can, whether that is by just responding to tweets or retweeting or emailing or tweeting your answers to the questions of the week. I really, really appreciate it. It's really, really nice. And I am having such a blast in doing this again in the game, but also now I'm playing with the whole idea of, well, I want to talk about it on the podcasts. I'm really enjoying my time back in the world of podcasting. So that wouldn't have been the same without all of your support. So a massive pat on the shoulder for all of you guys. Thank you for that. And yeah, that's really it. So for next week, I want to know how your gaming has changed since you started playing World of Warcraft. Now, some of you might have started with vanilla. We don't need the discussions about if vanilla players are better or not. That's not the point. But in those days that you started playing from vanilla, from Burning Crusade, from Wrath of the Lich King, even if it was, I don't know, a month ago and now, has things changed for you with how you play? You know, maybe your life has changed drastically, or anything else. Maybe you were a hardcore raider and now you're like, no, I don't want to raid anymore, or the other way around. Let me know. So you can, of course, contact me in various ways. You can Twitter. You can Twitter me. You can tweet me at whispers_of_war. Or my personal account, if that's more, I don't know why you would want to, but at McMonkeys with a Z, that's where you can also find me. If you'd rather have a whole story and want to email that to me, please do that at whispersofwarpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to know more about the show notes and where you can find everything that I've been rambling about, then go to whispersofwar.podbean.com. And that's really it. Of course, if you want to be a guest, you know, I love just hearing from you guys, but I would love to talk to you as well. Then please just get in touch with me and we can make this work. No time zone is going to, you know, be a hassle. Well, it's going to be a hassle, but we'll make it work. We can do this. Absolutely. So I'm hoping that I will hear from you guys again next week. Have a lovely time in Azeroth, and I will see you all with show number 7. Bye!